In this video, I want to talk about lost spirits. In the background of this video, because I assume you are watching this video through YouTube, you see a painting. It's not mine painting. It's a painting from, the artist's name is Henry Fuseli. He was a Swiss French painter of the late 18th century. And this is the alleged story behind this painting. I doubt it, but I'm going to give you the story. Is that this Henry visited a friend in London who was a poet, and this friend had a relative that was quite attractive, and he fell in love with her, but she did not respond to his affection and his sexual advances because her father couldn't stand this Henry. Later on, she married a friend of the family, and this Henry, who couldn't let her go, made a painting of her in it. Now that's the story they gave you behind the painting. Now I doubt it for multiple reasons, but I'm not going into why I doubt it, but I'm using the painting as a background of this video because this pagan, because Henry Fuseli was a pagan, he teaches you something with his painting. That's how those pagans operate. They teach you things in plain sight, but often people don't pay attention to notice what is presented onto them. So I'm going to break down this painting for you. Okay? What do you see here? You see a dark room, probably at night. Okay? You see a Caucasian female lying on her bed. She is in a deep sleep. She's almost falling off the bed. She's so relaxed. She doesn't even notice that her hand is touching the floor and she's about to fall off the bed. Okay? You see that there is a red background. Now red is a color code used by the pagan rulers when they want to withdraw something from the human population, while blue is used to enforce things on the human population. Okay? And purple is used to highlight that people are being lied to. But okay, I just want to point that out. So you see this Caucasian female, blonde. Well, you know who the pagan rulers of this world worship. Apollo, who's a blonde demon. So, okay, so in this case you have a female, because the body proportions are feminine. At least that's how it appears in this painting. So let's just say it's a female, blonde Caucasian female, dressed in white, which symbolizes innocence, ignorance, no involvement with evil. And again, she's so relaxed, but look at who sits on her. It's an entity, a demonic entity. And the demonic entity has company. There's a Nephilim behind this demonic entity. There's that horse type creature that comes to see if everything is going according to plan. If you don't understand the difference between Nephilim and just demons in general, now Nephilim are also demons, but if you don't understand the difference between the two, watch older videos of mine in which I've explained it. Shortly stated, Nephilim are the hybrid offspring of what you can call fallen angels who mated with females and animals. And fallen angels themselves are formerly heavenly men that were banned from the heavens, though to the filthiness they were involved in. Okay, now this entity appears to be a Nephilim that sits on the woman, but it can also be a former heavenly man. But okay, whatever it was, it doesn't matter. You also see a pyramid shape in the background in the shadows, actually two. But it comes down to this. This painting shows you how lost spirits operate. Let me explain why. If you would look at this painting and that ugly entity wouldn't be there, what would you think? You would think this is a woman deeply asleep and there's a horse that enters the room that shouldn't be there. And then you would ask yourself, why is the horse there? Okay, but let's say both the horse and the so-called horse, let's say both of those demonic entities are not in it. You would see an attractive Caucasian female asleep, dressed in white. And you can see her body shape also, so it would trigger your sexual senses if you're a male. Now, if that would be the only thing you would see, then what would your reaction be? You would think, oh, it's a beautiful painting. It's a beautiful woman. Who was it woman? Who was it model? But this painter puts the two demons in it. So what happens now is when you look at the painting, you think, huh? What's that ugly creature sitting over there? Your focus goes to the demon. And the female falls to the background. That is to show you that when you don't have discernment, when you don't look at the bigger picture, you process things quite different. The way you process things depends on your level of discernment. For example, common people, when they go through daily life, they don't notice anything except their own unexamined expectations reflected back onto them. So if they look at the situation, they would see factual things, even things that appeal on to them, but they don't see what's behind it. Someone with a high level of discernment, even if someone is an unbeliever who's not born again, if they have a high level of discernment, they may notice when something doesn't add up with the situation. So he or she process things differently. Okay? So, what does this have to do with lust spirits? First things first. A lust spirit has nothing to do with sex nor human sexuality. When people from the English-speaking world hear the word lust, they make an association with sex. That is how society conditions you. The word lust simply means a strong, intense longing or a strong, intense desire for something. It comes from the German language, Lust. Ich habe Lust in means I want to or I would like to. So, lust spirits are not concerned with human sexuality at all. What they are concerned with is the human need for significance. Your body has a strong urge for food and water. Of course, or else the body can't function. So the strong urge for food and water relates to the safety of your physical vessel. That's your body. Okay? So those two core needs, we understand them. Okay? However, as a human being, you are a spirit being. You're not a physical entity. You are a spirit entity with a soul as part of your being, and you have your materiality, which is your body, in which you operate in the material realm. That's what you are as a human being. You are a multidimensional being. And as a multidimensional being, your needs are spiritual. Of course, the body has its needs as the vessel, but this also relates to the spiritual. The human being has three core needs: the need for safety, the need for security, and the need for significance. They're all related to one another. They're all intertwined with each other. The need for safety relates mostly to the body. Okay, but the body has mechanisms for that, to assist you in it. Security, which is more an economic need, is often also related to the body, to the material dimension around you. But the need for significance is a soulish need. And the need for significance overrules all other needs. Even if the body has sufficient food and water and the body is secure, if the need for significance isn't met, the human being malfunctions. The need for significance overrules even the sexual urges of human beings. The present day culture teaches you that sexual impulses or sexual motivations are the main and the core motivations of human beings. That's a bold-faced lie. That lie comes from the 19th century, from pagan psychologists who served political agendas. And in the sexualized culture that emerged since the 1960s, it appears as if sexual impulses or sexual motivations are the main motivations of human beings, especially of men. That's not true at all. The main core motivation of human beings is to be significant. And it doesn't really matter in what they are significant, as long as they are significant. But this need is often masked by the culture around us. So we often can't put the finger on that's really significance that people are looking for. Now, lust spirits, or lust demons, if you want to call them, they focus on the need for significance that human beings have. And their purpose is to trick human beings into seeking significance in areas or in things that will harm them in the long run. So those lust spirits, they don't appear in their ugly, filthy shape like this entity in this painting is doing. They will hide behind something attractive. They will hide behind something valuable. And they, most of the time, they will hide behind something that's relevant to your daily life. And the purpose of these entities is to draw you into an agreement without you being aware there's an agreement you've entered into. Because once you're in that agreement, you're now extra vulnerable to the paranormal. And that's where those lust demons want you. Because once you're extra vulnerable to the paranormal, your sight has been blinded. Your perception has been blurred. You can't process things properly anymore. And then it's just a matter of time before you are drawn by your impulses. And you're not even aware you're driven by your impulses. You think it's you making your own decisions, but it's really the environment pulling at you into directions, and you think it's you. And lust spirits want you in such a state, because then they will use your environment to draw you into things that will harm you in the long run, but you're not even aware of it. You're being drawn into something. You think it's you being interested in a certain subject or being interested in a certain person. Well, it's not you at all. Listen carefully to what I'm saying here. Lust spirits want to draw you into bad situations where you'll be harmed in the long run. Not necessarily immediately in the long run you'll be harmed, but you're not even aware it's happening. And why you're not aware of it? Because your perception has been blurred. Because of this, you can't process things properly. And because you can't process things properly, you are being, you're being lived instead of you living. Now, who or what's living through you? The environment is pulling you It's like you have these invisible strings attached to you and the environment is pulling you. But every time you're pulled in direction, you think it's you. But it's not you. Okay? Now, just like in this painting that you see on the background, the demon looks at the painter. Okay? The demon sees the painter and looks the painter in the eye. The demon is fully aware of the environment, and it's the demon seeking for someone to draw into danger. Now, most folks won't notice the demon, and of course not. First of all, the demon is invisible for the human eye. You need to have your spiritual eyes open to really see the paranormal. Most people don't have that. But if you would see the demon, you would be out of there. So the demon hides. And about lost spirits, they often come to you when you just had some crisis in your life. Let's say that you finished high school, but you were rejected from medical school, and now you have no college to attend, and you also don't have a job yet. So that's like the economic or financial crisis. It's a short-lived crisis you're going through. When that's the case, a lost spirit may think Jessica now has no job at the moment. She has a high school diploma, but she also is not enrolled to any college. Within 4 or 5 months, the situation will be completely different. But I don't want to wait, because if the situation is different, she has moved on. I want to keep her in the state of fright. So what am I going to do? I'm going to send some females around her, of her age, who have it all together according to the world, and she will feel bad about herself because she compares herself to them. And those women, I will cause them to be interested in befriending this Jessica. And Jessica most likely will fall for the trap. But those women I will send to her are women who prostitute themselves to get money. They also prostitute themselves to rich women, so they're also into sodomy and all of that. Those new friends that I will give to her are also bitter in her thinking. So this Jessica, even though she thinks her life is over now, within a few months she'll look at it completely different. But I don't want that to happen. I want her to be trapped now. That's how lost spirits think. That's how they operate. They operate in an instant. In an instant. They don't wait. They act immediately. Just like Python spirits, lost spirits, they're quite impatient. When they see a loop, they take it. That's why it's important to be renewed in your mind. Now look, about lost spirits. As I mentioned before, they want your perception to be blurred so you can't process things clearly. Now, there is one deception that makes people quite vulnerable to lost spirits. And that's the deception of going to heaven. I've explained about that being deception before, but now I want to go deeper into it. As a human being, you're designed for the earth. The earth is designed to contain and sustain life. And human beings are designed by the Most High to administer life in the earth realm. That is our purpose. Okay? So, if earth is our destination, and it's made plain from Genesis to Revelation that earth will always be our home, even after the resurrection, then why are those Babylon churches, why is pagan Christianity keep telling you of going to heaven? Well, heaven, the heavens were never, you're not designed for the heavens. The heavens were never intended as a place for you to reside in. So if you are not designed nor compatible with the heavens, why is pagan Christianity keep talking about going to heaven? If you have a fish, you would not judge a fish by its capacity to climb a tree, nor by its capacity to fly or soar in the mountains. Because it's a fish. It's designed to operate in the waters. Okay? Now, if someone would say that fish belong in the air together with the eagles, you would walk away immediately from such an individual, because you would think this individual needs to see a psychiatrist immediately because the individual has lost it. But okay, if fish don't belong in the air, and if eagles don't belong on the bottom of the ocean, then why is it that pagan Christianity teaches you that you belong in heaven and that earth is only a preparation for heaven, while your body, your whole being is designed for the earth? When they put in your head that earth is not your home, that's a wizard trick right over here. They just blurred your perception. Your natural senses, your brain, you as a spirit entity, everything will resonate with you and everything will testify to you that you belong on the earth, that the earth is your home. But they now tell you, no, earth is not your home. It's the same thing as when Satan, in the form of a serpent, told Eve in the Garden of Eden, you shall surely not die. The serpent contradicted God's word, which is the truth. Now, in the same way, when anyone tells you that earth is not your home, they contradict the word. They contradict scripture that tells plainly that earth is your home. And not only that, they also violate your intelligence by tricking you into agreeing with something that naturally doesn't make sense at all. So when you convince someone that earth is not their home, what happens next is that they become alienated from themselves. They can't operate properly anymore because they will never feel at home. And the sense of not feeling at home will cause frustration and sadness in the human being. So now the human being has this urge to be relieved from this sadness and this frustration. And don't forget, the human being has this core need to be significant. Well, that need for significance is meant to be met on the earth, because that need for significance is meant to serve its purpose on the earth, because it's in the earth that you are significant, it's in the earth that you are relevant. But by divorcing someone from their natural design, at least in their mind you separate them from the natural design that they need to be significant on the earth, you now cause confusion in the human being. And the frustration, the depression that this confusion will bring forth, will trigger the human being to become desperate for significance. Normally you have a strong urge for significance, which is natural, but now people become desperate for significance. And that is what lost spirits want. Because it's in this desperate state that you'll likely end up in any type of deception. And in pagan Christianity, lost spirits are using this hoax of going to heaven to keep people addicted to relief seeking. Because all the teachings of going to heaven or preparing for heaven are all about avoidance. You avoid life, you avoid the challenges of life, you avoid the responsibilities of life, you avoid the great commission that Christ gave unto us. So those teachings keep you dysfunctional, so you won't do God's will, which is to reflect heaven on earth. All these teachings of fighting sin, overcoming sin, and all of that is all about making it to heaven. Because you can't just enter heaven. You're too dirty for it, they will tell you. So you need to fight very hard to enter in. Because if you don't enter in, man, you'll be in a torture room for all eternity. So they keep you in a state of fright. So now your urge to be significant becomes displaced in a competition of reaching heaven. Well, heaven was never meant to be your place of residence. Earth is. So now, because your need for significance is misplaced, you're now stuck in a loop of, you're stuck in a compulsive, addictive loop of seeking relief over and over again. And that's what lost spirits want. So lost spirits in themselves have nothing to do with sex nor human sexuality. It's all about triggering the core, deep-rooted need for significance. Now, why is lust often associated with sex? It is because in a world, males often seek significance in sexual relationships. That's what males in the world often do. And the pagan rulers of the world know this. That's why in the media they exploit this. And lost spirits exploit this also. But lost spirits know very well that this seeking for significance in sexual relationships is a trap. Yet those lost spirits, with the assistance of advertisement and assistance of media and assistance of Hollywood, lost spirits keep promoting this hoax that as a male you can find significance in sexual relationships. It's not true. And then you have the culture expecting things of men that are questionable and often against their own long-term well-being. But the men who want significance, they will compete to protect their manhood, as if their manhood is something that can be taken away from them, which is another deception. And that's how lost spirits get a hold of males in general. And then you have Babylon churches or pagan Christianity telling you it has to do with sex. It does not have to do with sex. It has to do with a trick of thinking that you can find significance in sexual relationships, which is false. Now look, I may record another video talking about the need for significance now to relate to human sexuality, but for this video I want to talk about the lost spirits. And lost spirits, they are masters in tricking people into bad situations. Now Python spirits operate in a similar way. With Python spirits, however, you can instantly sense that something doesn't add up. Lost spirits, just like confusion spirits, they tend to, even though they're impatient, they tend to do it a bit more in a more easy way. Okay? Because lost spirits want you to be totally vulnerable. So they work hard to get you in a condition that you're totally vulnerable without you being aware of it. Because then society can pull at you and you're not even aware of it. And then it's easy for them to make their move. That's why I'm telling you who's listening to this. Some of you escaped a lot of harm because you didn't get what you wanted. Now what you wanted, when you look back now, isn't really what you really wanted. You thought it was what you wanted, based on how you were conditioned. And lost spirits were using your conditioning to pull you in destruction. But those of you who are listening to this now, you had protection. Either someone was praying for you or you were praying yourself, and that's why you became unattractive to predators. Now listen to me carefully. All psychopaths, sociopaths out there are used by demons. They are. All malignant narcissists are used by demons. Okay? And for you to be captured by one of those human predators, you need to be attractive to them. And lost spirits know this, because they still need to use those human predators as a tool. Now what happened is that some of you were praying and praying, and the protection worked out. She became unattractive for a while to predators. And that's why lost spirits couldn't use those predators to capture you. So some of you, you're still asking yourself why things didn't work out. Now things did work out. You're safe now. Well, this video has become a half hour long. I didn't intend to make it this long. Always remember to agree with Christ and be at peace.